now that you're done tracing, I want you to take a look at both of your trace layers. So you're going to turn off the background layer and you're going to make a layer that's white behind it so that you can really see your work. So this is how my trace layer with the pen tool came out. I'm going to turn that off versus how my trace layer with the paintbrush came out. And I think for this illustration, I really like the pen tool better. So I'm going to stick with this one. Now you should have turned both of these trace layers in to Google Classroom on their respective assignments with the white background. So if you haven't done that, take a minute to go to File, you hit save just to make sure it's saved, and then save a copy. Save on your computer, and you're going to name it, this one would be Trace 2 JPEG. Make sure it's in your folder. Save, and you can turn that in size. I would do like size 6, okay, and turn it into Google Classroom. So now your trace layer is always going to stay on the very top in our dialog box. So it's the first layer. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to always name my layers, and this is going to be frog. I'm going to call it the nose, and the nose area is this top area here. I'm going to decide what color my frog's going to be. I think I want to make my frog red. You don't have to make your frog green, but you could. I'm going to come back to my pen tool, and we're just going to, this is our flat layers. We're going to fill in our color in our frog with flat color. I'm going to try to stay inside the lines. My smoothing is on pretty high. I'm going to turn it down just a little, but I still want it on when I'm going near the lines because that helps me stay inside the lines. So you're just going to turn it down just a little bit more. And if obviously if you go outside the lines, just erase, clean up, zoom in so you can get a really clean work. It's easier to color in, but remember your brush will get bigger, so you have to trim your brush down. And we're zooming into this. And you can see I went kind of outside the lines there. And I'm going to bring it down here. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to take my eraser, make sure it's hard round, pressure size, or just hard round. I'm going to figure out where do I need to erase. And if I over erase, that's okay, and I can come back in and fill. And my smoothing's been on. I'm going to turn my smoothing down on my eraser, make it a little smaller, and really get that area. Okay, so I want to make the body next, or maybe I'll do the eyelid. So I'm going to move up. I'm going to do eyelids. I'm going to make them a little bit lighter because your eyelid skin is a little bit different than your other skin, right? It's a little lighter sometimes it's a little darker, just depends. So I'm just going to make a slight difference in color, not much, but it's not super noticeable, but it's these little subtle things that make things unique and well done. Okay, next I'm going to, under the eyelids, I'm going to create the pupils. So pupils, and we're doing all these on different layers so that, you know, you can add shading. I'm going to come to my pupils, make them like a darkish black. This black isn't a pure black. Okay, it's like a maroon black. Right, so making those creative color choices really helps. And I'm leaving that white there. I'll have to color that in white. That's the highlight. Zoom in so I can see where that is. I'm going to do white HL for highlights. Now I'm going to come in, and I'm getting a white here, and I'm just going to come in and go right up to that line. Move my brush a little smaller. Kind of round that out. And, you know, I can even draw more. I could come in here, hard down pressure size, and kind of add to it if I want, because I think it needs it. So we can draw more highlight there. Next, what do I want to do next? Oh, I'm noticing a little bit of my eyelid, so I'm going to clean this up. So as I'm going, I can move between layers. And I would do this other eye, obviously, but let me show you a trick. You're going to take this is called the dropper tool, and it just picks up color. So as you're going, you need a new color and you don't one that you already used, you can use the picker tool to kind of just pick up those colors. So coloring seems like, oh, this is going to go so fast, but you have to pay attention to the details and, you know, slow down. I could, on the same layers, finish that eye. For now, just to show you your other layers, so I would use the same layers for this eye, right? So come in and put the maroon here, the white here, draw a highlight. And this I would probably leave white, like it's the white of his eye, maybe. I will see. But for now, I want to come in and do the legs. The legs are under the face, so we're going to put them down below. So you want to think about what order. And I want them slightly darker than the face. So coming in, coming under there is fine because this layer is under. It won't paint over. Okay. It looks too much like the same color, so I'm going to darken it a little bit so you can see that difference. Still not liking. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to come back in my history, and I'm going to start to paint this, and it can go right up there. And I'm going to paint this in. And so, you know, these bigger areas go faster. Of course, I'm going to have to do all these detail areas on the legs in another layer. So we're not doing a lot of shading on this frog. We're going to use the gradient tool to add some shading, but you are thinking about layering color and different shades of the same color to build that sense of dimension. So if I do back legs here, then I would go darker because the legs are behind. So just a little bit darker, right? You don't want to have your colors be so, your shades of red or shades of green or shades of purple, whatever your frog is, be so different that it is highly eye-catching and noticeable, but just enough so that we get a sense that what is in front and what is behind are different shades of the same color. Do those look a little too close? Maybe, so I could just come over and just darken that a little for a little more contrast. And because it's behind the front legs, the layer is behind the front leg layer. It's below it in the dialog box over here. And it can go right under and you're not going to see. So your layer order is really important because it makes working easier. And when we add some shading later, it's going to make a big difference. Okay, so now I have some color options. I might want to switch colors for the chest of the frog. So the frog's chest is still below the head, but kind of next to or in front of the legs. So I'm going to put the layer between the legs and the frog nose. I'm going to call it chest. And I'm going to change colors to like a yellowish green. So this is a contrasting color because green and orange, green and red are complementary colors. And I'm noticing I'm going to actually move this behind the legs because it'll make it easier for me to color in since the legs are already colored. I'm going to make my brush bigger. And if I weren't rushing through this to kind of get all parts done, I would have already done this other leg on a different layer. So I would have made like leg 2, right? You want each part on its own layer for the most part, but I'm kind of rushing through. I'm going to put, I don't have to be super careful right here because I'm going to put that layer above it. So then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to write leg right, so leg R. And I'm going to pick up this color again. And I'm going to turn this down, turn my smoothing up, and I'm just going to fill this area in on its own layer. Like so. Oops, that was a little messy right there. So, even though I'm kind of rushing, you want to be zoomed in so you can go better. Accuracy, neatness is everything. That's what we call craftsmanship. It's like the quality of the work. Like, did you do it with a lot of attention to skill, neatness, control, right? If it looks rushed and messy, it's lacking craftsmanship. If all your lines are the same and they're wobbly and messy, lacking craftsmanship. Okay. And then over here, I'm going to go like this. And then I would do the back leg the same as this one on its own layer, so back leg right. And then I'm going to do a layer above this leg and call it leg R details. And then I can come in, I'm going to make my details, let's see, what color? I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go slightly more green. And I can start coloring in some of these green. So I hope this video gives you an idea of how to build your layers and color your frog. You get to choose your own colors. And I will finish this frog so you can see my final outcome. Okay. And then once we're all colored in, we will give the frog just some slight shading. So I hope this has been a good, informative video, and I can't wait to see what you end up choosing for your frog's colors and how that comes out for you.